courage,
fortitudo,
wisdom,
prudentia,
temperance,
temperantia,
justice.
justitia.
Exploring ancient philosophy for the path to the good life. This is the Sunday Stoic. I'm Steve, and this is episode 3 of the Sunday Stoic. Did you ever have to study philosophy in school? I took a course in which we spent a lot of time discussing whether or not a tree had value in and of itself, or because we assigned value to it. And I found no utility in this discussion, and I found it very boring and very useless. Therefore, I'm surprised that I'm doing a podcast devoted to the study of a philosophy, the philosophy of Stoicism. But what I found is that Stoicism is a very practical philosophy. It's a tool for living a good life. My introduction to Stoicism came with the book A Guide to the Good Life by William Irving. You can check out a link to it on the show notes at sundaystoic.wordpress.com. You can also find links to the readings we'll be doing today. Today's episode focuses on control. You'll find that a core tenet of Stoicism is the idea that you should only focus on the things that are within your control. Things that are outside your control should not concern you much. The first reading will be from Epictetus. We'll hear from Seneca, and of course Marcus Aurelius, the three amigos of late Stoicism, and those whose writings have survived the test of time. We'll see that there are only a few things that really are in our control. What we think, what we enjoy, what we dislike, how good of a person we are, how virtuous we are. And then there are a whole lot of things that maybe we have a little bit of control over, but not much. Whether someone loves us, how rich we are, how healthy we are, how long we'll live, how far we'll advance in our careers, etc. And then there are things that we have no control over. And we should really take our time to avoid worrying ourselves sick over the things that we can barely affect or not affect at all. So let's jump into it and hear what the great Stoics have to say. The Enchiridion by Epictetus, Chapter 1. There are things which are within our power, and there are things which are beyond our power. Within our power are opinion, aim, desire, aversion, and in one word, whatever affairs are our own. Beyond our power are body, property, reputation, office, and in one word, whatever are not properly our own affairs. Now the things within our power are by nature free, unrestricted, unhindered, but those beyond our power are weak, dependent, restricted, alien. Remember then, that if you attribute freedom to things by nature dependent, and take what belongs to others for your own, you will be hindered, you will lament, you will be disturbed. You will find fault with both the gods and men. But if you take for your own only that which is your own, and view what belongs to others just as it really is, then no one will ever compel you, no one will restrict you, you will find fault with no one, and you will accuse no one. You will do nothing against your will, no one will hurt you, you will not have an enemy, nor will you suffer any harm. Aiming therefore at such great things, remember that you must not allow yourself any inclination, however slight, toward the attainment of the others, but you must entirely quit some of them. For the present postpone the rest. But if you would have these and possess power and wealth likewise, you may miss the latter in seeking the former, and you will certainly fail of that which alone happiness and freedom are procured. Seek at once, therefore, to be able to say to every unpleasing semblance, You are but a semblance, and by no means the real thing. And then examine it by those rules which you have, and first and chiefly by this, whether it concerns the things which are within your own power, or those which are not. And if it concerns anything beyond our power, be prepared to say that it is nothing to you. Meditations of Marcus Aurelius, chapter 8, verse 50. A cucumber is bitter, throw it away. There are briars in the road, turn aside from them. This is enough. Do not add, and why are there such things made in the world? For thou wilt be ridiculed by a man who is acquainted with nature, as thou wouldst be ridiculed by a carpenter and a shoemaker, if thou didst find fault because thou seest in their workshop shavings and cuttings from the things which they make. Moral Letters to Lucilius by Seneca. On the futility of halfway measures, verses 13 through 17. I was just putting the seal upon this letter, but it must be broken again, in order that it may go to you with its customary contribution, bearing with it some noble word. And lo, there is one that occurs to my mind. I do not know whether its truth or its nobility of utterance is greater. Spoken by whom, you ask? By Epicurus. For I am still appropriating other men's belongings. The words are, everyone goes out of life just as if he had but lately entered it. Take anyone off his guard, young, old, or middle-aged, you will find that they are equally afraid of death, and equally ignorant of life. No one has anything finished because we have kept putting off the future of all our undertakings. No thought in the quotation given above pleases me more than it taunts old men with being infants. No one, he says, leaves this world in a different manner from one who has just been born. That is not true, for we are worse when we die than when we were born. But it is our fault, and not that of nature. Nature should scold us, saying, "What does this mean? I brought you into the world without desires or fears, free from superstition, treachery, and other curses. Go forth as you were when you entered." A man has caught the message of wisdom, if he can die as free from care as he was at birth. But as it is, we are all aflutter at the approach of the dreaded end. Our courage fails, our cheeks blanch, our tears fall, though they are unavailing. But what is baser than to fret at the very threshold of peace? The reason, however, is that we are stripped of all our goods, we have jettisoned our cargo of life, and are in distress. For no part of it has been packed in the hold. It has all been heaved overboard and has drifted away. Men do not care how nobly they live, but how long. Although it is within the reach of every man to live nobly, but within no man's power to live long. Farewell. That guitar fill was produced using a cigar box guitar. One of my hobbies is building these guitars. You take a cigar box and put a neck on it and put some frets on that neck and some strings and make yourself a authentic Depression-era musical instrument. It's something I like to do. I enjoy building the guitars. I enjoy playing them. However, many times when I'm trying to build a guitar, something doesn't work right. Something doesn't work out. Something goes unexpectedly wrong. That's because, one, I'm not an expert craftsman, and two, there are many things outside my control. The quality of the particular wood I'm trying to use, or the glue I'm using. Lots of things can be different, can go wrong, and are beyond my control. I should keep that in mind when something goes wrong, so it doesn't upset me and disturb my tranquility. What about that girl you have your eye on at the bar, or that promotion you want? Are those things in your control? Is the affection of another human being within your control, or the approval of another human being within your control? No, they are not. There are things that you have partial control over. You can be the best potential boyfriend that you can be, or the best employee your boss has ever seen. Those things may well be within your power. So when it comes to things partially in your control, Your goal should be internal only. How can you best do your best job in this situation? You can get more information on this way of thinking from William Irvine's book, as I mentioned earlier. Another thing you might want to do is cultivate an inner Stoic, an Epictetus of the mind, sort of like the way they have little angels and little devils on the shoulder of cartoon characters, telling them what they should do or guiding them. We should have Epictetus on our shoulders, saying, "Hey, is this within your control? Is that within your control? Why are you worrying about it? Don't worry about that. You have no power over it, so don't worry about it." At the same time, that Epictetus can say, "Why does this new situation upset you? Why did this person cutting you off in traffic upset you? Let's examine your perceptions of this situation. Is there a reason why it should upset you? Well, probably not. First of all, it's not within your power to control, and it's not that big a deal. Let it go." So having this constant internal dialogue can really help you to put things in perspective. In the reading by Marcus Aurelius, he just comments that when you're going through daily life, stuff's going to get in your way. The brambles of life, let's say, the thorns on the road. It really doesn't do you any good to go, "Oh, why did this happen to me?" Once again, outside your control. Don't worry about it. So instead of worrying about it, you should say, "Hey, how can I best make use of this situation? How can I adapt and overcome? What can I do to know that I've done my best today?" And then we get to the reading of Seneca. Seneca spends a lot of time in his writings talking about how to get over the fear of death. And death is that ultimate thing that people are so terrified of, and yet you absolutely are going to die. It is not within your power to escape death. Because of that fact, because of its inevitability, it should not concern you. It is absolutely going to happen. And once you're dead, you're no longer here. The day after you die is just like the day before you were conceived. You didn't exist. So you shouldn't really worry about it too much. You should make use of your daily life. Learn how to live now. Live as if death is behind you at every moment and you are trying to get things accomplished before you die. You want to make sure you love your children, you do a good job at work, you enjoy life while you can. He makes the point that it's not nature's fault that we die. That's just the fact of life. The real dilemma comes in, did you live while you were alive? Did you make use of your life? Or did you fret it away so that when the hour comes to die, you regret all the things you didn't do and some of the things that you did do? And that's why Stoicism asks you to reflect on your own death from time to time, to ensure that you're living life in such a way that should it arrive, you will know that you lived the best life that you could have. One of my favorite lines is at the end of this reading, where Seneca says, "Many people don't think much about living a virtuous life, but they want to live a long life." And if we tie that back into what Epictetus said, you don't have the power to live a long life. That's only just partially in your control. You could live till you're 100, you could be hit by a milk truck tomorrow. But you do have the power to live virtuously today. So what are you going to do to live a virtuous day? Carpe diem.